أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. But it's quite unfortunate the fact that we've got more brothers here, but we've got less. But this today the topic is quite important. It's really interesting at the same time, I would say. Brothers, when we come to this class, I want your mindset to be different. I want your focus and intention to be the fact that I'm going to come and learn something. I'm going to take, even if it means one line, I'm going to take it back. Okay, because every single thing because we're coming to a point where many people are not attending lessons. They're so busy that people are not taking the deen to another level by learning. Do you know what I mean? It's all about learning through social media, this and that, and they think that's it, I know it all. But reality is, when it comes to the deen, first step that you learn. That's what I always say, is that when you embark upon the deen, you have to learn. Someone who doesn't learn and he's practicing, then he's always going to be jahil. Simple as. Okay? When someone embarked, the other day, I was talking to someone, and I said, Akhi, are you not learning? He said, no. I said, Akhi, when you come to the deen, you have to learn. Simple as. Go through a book. Even if it means it will take you a couple of months for you to finish that book, it doesn't really matter. You have to embark upon the whole concept of learning. Brothers, we shall resume with the book. We shall resume with the book Al-Jawab al-Kafi liman sa'ala an dawa al-Shafi, also known as الداء والدواء ibn Al-Qayim al-Jawziyah. Okay, cure, disease and cure, which is quite widely known. Brothers, the hadith I'm going to mention, when I say قال rahimahullah, means that the Shaykh has said. Okay, when I say قال rahimahullah, it means that the Shaykh has said. Okay, I'll try my best to stick to the book, but also there's some important points that many of us are not aware of. So I would believe also to do justice to this book, I cannot hide certain matters related to the deen or current affairs. I said before, brothers, Al-Quran kulluhu shifa. The Quran, every bit of it is shifa. Okay? Now shifa here, mainly, they say hissiyan or ma'nawiyan, meaning that psychological or mental illness. Also, brothers, in pain, and when it comes to poisoning, when it comes to any kind of issues that the doctors cannot find it anymore. Have you ever come across that stage where you know what, the doctors are confused? You've come to that stage where, not about yourself, maybe your relatives, the doctors you just know by the face they're a bit confused. Brother, this is when you need Quran Al-Qayim. This is the right time for you to go over to the marid, the person who's sick, and then you start reciting on them ma tayassara lak, whatever is easy for you. Doesn't have to be certain surah, but generally the surah related to sakina, tranquility, ease, Surah Al-Fath, and all Surah Yasin, Surah Ar-Rahman, these are the very surahs that many of us we overpraise, because there's some fadl, there's some virtues in those surahs. That's the reason why many of us are parents. It's all about Surah Yasin, and they call it Ozifa, and it's all about reciting those certain verses, because it actually has a lot of virtues in those surah. Then he goes on, the famous hadith. Then he says, وَقَدْ ثَبَتَ فِي صَحِيحَيْ فِي حَدِيثِ أَبِي سَعِيدٍ قال انطلق نفر من أصحاب النبي انطلق نفر من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في سفرة سافروها حتى نزلوا على حي من أحياء العرب فاستضافوهم فأبوا أن يضيفوهم فلدغ سيد ذلك الحي فسعوا له بكل شيء لا ينفعه شيء فقال بعضهم لو أتيتم هؤلاء الرهط الذي نزلوا لعله أن يكون عند بعضهم في شيء، فأتوهم فقالوا يا أيها الرهط إن سيدنا قد لدغ وسعينا بكل شيء لا ينفعه، فهل عند أحدكم من شيء؟ فقال بعضهم والله إني لأرقي، ولكن والله لقد استفناكم فلم تضيفونا، فأنا براق لكم حتى تجعلوا لنا جعلة. فصالحوهم على قطيع من الغنم، فانطلق ينفل عليه ويقرأ الحمد لله رب العالمين. That's the hadith. I'm going to translate it. Now, what happened was a group of Sahaba, they were on a journey. They were on a journey, and then they went to a bara. Hay means a bara. It's like a small little bara, okay, where, it's a non-Muslim bara. So, on a long journey, by the way, okay. Now, if you remember, if you take a long journey, you need to go in a big group. It's not safe for you to go in a small. Back in the days, they used to go in a big kind of, 20, 30 people, because there's a lot of robbery going on at that time. After when the Islam became much more widespread, they were able to go in a small number because they were much more safer. The Arabs, what they did was the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they made that journey, and then they came up to this bara, and then they were walking past, and then someone came and said, Ya ayyuha, oh group of people, you wanna invite you to our place. Can you please come over? He said, look, we'll come, but we don't want to be your guest. We'll just come and then we'll leave. They said, look, our leader has been poisoned, and we have used everything that's possible, but it's not working. So Sayyidana qad ludigh, he has become, something bit him. He said that the scorpion has bit him. Okay, they used to sleep in the floor back in the days. If you know the desert area, there's a lot of scorpion that runs around. Even till today, a lot of scorpion runs around that area, generally in desert. Okay, and when I was speaking to my mate, he said, I also got bit by a scorpion. You all got swollen up. So scorpion is very something, in aqrab, it's something that is quite known. Now, when they tried every single thing, nothing worked. So he said, Ya ayyuha rahab, please come over and help our leader. The Sahabi who was at that time in the group, among the group, he volunteered. Something told him in his heart, volunteer and recite to him. This Sahabi particularly, I'll find the exact name of it. I can't remember. I'll find it exactly. He was actually quite reluctant of going to that person and reciting on him. He's a bit reluctant because, they are new Muslims, and, he knew some sort of Quran al-Karim, some sort. He said, Inni la-arqi, I will recite on him the ones that I know, because at that time, they are very much, Iman was very much there, they have Rasulullah with them. They were proper on it, you know what I mean? Their Iman is very high, they just want to obey Islam, they want to follow the Quran al-Karim so much, to such an extent when they went to Medina, at night time, it's like, when you hear so many bees, that's how it was in Medina. Everyone in the tent, everyone in the house, just reciting Quran the whole night. They used to calm down at Tahajjud. Then everyone used to stand up for Tahajjud again. So that's how it was. So with his himmah, he said, I will recite. And what he did, he recited on him, and he became better. But he said something. He said, فَمَا أَنَا بِرَاقٍ لَكُمْ حَتَّى تَجْعَلُوا لَنَا جُعْلًا. He said, look, I'll recite on you, but you have to give me something back. Look, give me something back then. He said, look, I'll give you a whole lot of flock of sheep. Back then, if someone was to give you like 50 sheep, how would you feel? And it's like coming back with so much stuff. He said, look, we'll give you a whole load of flock of sheep, but please come and recite on our Sayyid, on our leader. The Sahabi, what he did was he recited Surah Al-Fatiha 7 times. and much more. And then he became better. He started walking again. He started feeling so much revitalized. And then they went back. Then they went to Rasulullah and then they actually related the whole story. Okay, they related the whole story. You know, when that really happened, you know, the iman was very high up. They realized the power of Quran al-Karim. They went back to Rasulullah and they related the whole story. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, said, he actually said, "Do you leave me some?" Okay, he said, وَأَضْرِبُ لِي مَعَكُمْ سَهْمًا. He said, no, leave me some. Meaning that he was really happy about the effort that the Sahabi has put in. Okay? So, obviously they shared it among the people. And that's the story. Okay? Now, this hadith, my brother, is very much related. It's very much related in when it comes to the whole issue of charging, when it comes to giving a service. Ju'la means service, brothers. It means a service. When you give a service, you expect something back because you're taking your time, you're making the effort of actually focusing on someone. Okay? And then when you just leave, you got two things in your mind that you come out with. A good intention with the intention of reward, or some kind of gift, a hadiyah, a gift that you go back with, or ujra, or some sort of fee that you take from the person you have given service to. Now here, my brothers, the ahkam, the ulama, they derive ahkam from this hadith to say that there's two opinions in charging someone when they fall ill. They go up to that person who is ill and reciting upon that person, and they do become better, or give them a remedy or a healing process, a method whereby time they will become better. There's two opinions. Now here, majority have said that it's fine to take a small amount of charge when you give a service. Okay? They actually said it's allowed to charge. That's what they say, it's fine. Now here, the opinion is Imam Nawawi, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qudama, and the majority of the scholars, they have said that it is fine. The other one, they have said that you cannot take, and that's a minority opinion, by the way, that you cannot go up to a person and recite on such an individual and expect some money back. Okay? Now, the majority of ulama, they have derived that it's fine because the hadith is really clear cut. The hadith is really clear cut. Prophet, he never was angry. You know, in fact, he was a bit happy. You know, they were, you know, the Sahabas were coming back. They done a service to someone. Subhanallah, he became better. And then they returned back to their city and they were happy. Rasulullah, he never forbade them when they took that charge in helping that Sayyid, in helping that leader of the tribe. But the brothers, this is the majority of the opinion where it's fine. The second opinion, they said, you know what, you can't take it at all. And that's a very staunch, the ulama here, they have taken a very staunch in this regards. You cannot, you know, you don't eat from, they said in the hadith they would relate, don't eat from Quran al-Karim. Quran is for everyone. Shifa is something that you do out of good gesture, for your good community, you know, for your will. Don't start overcharging. Don't start making this a means for you to go out and take money from them and then charging them a hefty price. Now here I just want to ask you, brothers, what would you say about it? What would make sense to you, though? I have one thing I'm going to share, inshallah. But what do you say? What would be your? I just want to make you feel a bit engaged today. What would you say, in your opinion, Akhi?
It will be good for the person to take something as long as it doesn't affect his intentions, because in the end it might turn out that at one point the person goes to help people and is expecting a gift, and so the intention becomes that they're going for a gift. As long as that doesn't happen, then I think it's okay.
Okay. Anything? I mean,
I think both are acceptable.
Both are acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, both have they have the valid opinions, and they have derived depending, you know, with all the study that they have done, they have come to an agreement anonymously that don't charge. What would be your one,
I think
because why I'm saying this, brother, because there's people that are running around, okay, like bees and conning people in our community.
It's common practice, isn't it, bro?
Sorry?
It's common practice.
It's a common practice.
There's imams charging like £500 for a niqab.
Exactly. For niqab.
Yeah.
Okay, Ajib.
I think it's okay to charge as long as you're not burdening the other person with your charges.
Okay. Now this is what I want to tell you, brothers. When you help someone who's suffering from evil eye, from sihr, brothers, such an individual is destitute. He's suffering so much. The whole household got affected because of that person becoming ill. You know the strain the family members go through when someone's ill, especially if someone got afflicted with sihr or al-jinn, the jinn, possession. Now think about it. They're giving you a call. They expect something from you. They think you will be giving them the shifa. So your mindset has to be strong. Your mindset has to be, you know what? I'm going to go for a service. I'm going to explain to them how it works. This is a concept with many Iraqis don't actually explain. Okay? What they would do is they think, you know what? I'm the man. I'm going to recite on them. And I'm going to come out. They don't realize the whole ruqya system is actually counseling. It's actually them seeing you being a mu'alij, being a therapist in Quran al-Karim. So they expect more than that. People think, okay, I want to do ruqya. I know, okay, I actually know so many verses. I'm going to go and do. I'm not scared of jinn. I never was. I'm going to go and I'm going to start reciting. I'm going to do much. I'm going to leave with my 200 quid. I'm going to do. That's how they think it is. But the reality is, my brothers, sometimes the patient doesn't actually have no ruqya related issue. Sometimes it's all got to do with the mental side. Now, how I can understand that person's situation properly? Okay, that's a grey area. That's an area where they don't know about. They are very ignorant about it. Now you have to find out that solution for them. Then you have to do some you have to start finding out. You have to start asking questions about if that person married, has a marital relationship, has a relationship with the parents, has a friend relationship, and then you start sussing out. Then you realize, you know what? It's actually another problem. It's actually another issue. It's not magic. It's not evil eye. It's not jealousy. So these are the things that people have to be equipped with. Okay, and that's where they fundamentally go wrong, because when you leave the house, you've taken that charge from them. Now they actually haven't gone better. You have disheartened them, number one. Number two, majority of them are not practicing. You have left a mark with people of knowledge thinking they're just jokers. Think about it. Many people, they want to test you, what kind of person you are before they start calling you. For someone to, because when you start going to the house, brother, you start knowing the dynamics of the house. You start realizing there's so much issues going on in that household. So if you don't understand the dynamics of that house, if you don't understand the core conditions of how to approach them, and the principle that you have to lay down to yourself in understanding the family is a big problem. That's why the field of ruqya is a very sensitive issue. It's a very sensitive topic. Now, the people will go, the opinion that they said, Imam Nawawi, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qudam, and all the other majority scholars, they have said, yes, take a fee, but don't go hard on them. In a normal counselling in the United Kingdom, here in this country, it's actually 65 to 70 quid for a counselling, talking therapy. A talking therapy is actually very feasible, accessible. But when you go to someone's house and say, I'm not going to come to your house unless I take my 250 quid, then this is khiyana. This is treachery. This becomes a treachery towards Quran al-Karim. يَشْتَرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. They sold off the Quran with less price. Quran, my brothers, is priceless. You can't say, I'm not going to come to your house. I'm not going to come to your house until you pay me. If someone going to say, listen, brother, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to come to your house tonight, but look, I'm leaving everything. I'm going to take a small charge for the time I'm giving. But everything else is free. But the time, the fact I'm coming to your house, I take a small charge. What is your price? Fuel, everything, just give me 50 to 60 pounds, brother, I hope you don't mind. If they say, look, I don't have any money, brother, I can't give anything, then change your intention straight away. Go fi sabilillah. Help that person out. And subhanAllah, the effect is much more greater when there's no money involved. When there's no money involved, they become cured much more quicker, much more faster. Because think about it. Inshallah, go through that in the book. What Al-Qayim actually really says. But I just want you to kind of clarify those issues. That despite there's a small minority issue, minority opinion where they say you can't take it at all. The reality is, my brothers, when your car gets suddenly it's not working anymore. When you go to the garage, they will give you a small fee rate. For example, to change an alternator, for example, those who know it's £150. Now that's a gadget. That's a car related issue, but that's something really important to you. Now, the ulama, they have said that you can take a charge so long that person will become cured. They done a small, suggestion that even if you go for the cure, there has to be that person has to get cured, and then you take the money. But think about the hadith. When the Sayyid, when the leader of the tribe became cured, that's when they took the money. That's when they gave a whole flock. Other than that, the money wasn't there. The money-related issue, it wasn't there. When the Sayyid stood up and started feeling revitalized, he's very much there. That's when they took their flock. So the ulama, they have done it also a small nuqta, a small point that, you can go and charge and give a service so long, they become better. And that's, I think, makes sense, more correct. Who would agree with me? It's more correct. It's more correct, yeah. Because, brothers, when you take a car to the garage here, and you said, it's going to be £200, and then you come following days, it's still not working anymore. But guess what? You still took that £200. What are you going to do? Are you going to get back the £200? So listen, you're not doing nothing to my car. You opened it up, you mashed it up, you put it back in, now it's still making that same noise. And then you still took my £200. A small little analogical reasoning I'm doing with myself, okay? Because if you think about it, you can give, if someone gets better, they'll even give you 5 to a grand. Because health comes number one priority in someone's life. Now that's the thing I want you to clarify. Another thing, my brothers, I want to say also is that whoever has the capability, or whoever has some understanding of the field of ruqya, then I think brothers should actually volunteer and help people out. No one should feel feel ashamed to say, I can't do it. I'm not the person for this job. That's a very wrong understanding. In fact, today, as I was picking one of the brothers up, one of the famous Iraqi in Maghrib, he came up live. So I switched it on. And when the question that's been asked, so he's like a famous Iraqi, he's got like more than 300,000 followers, yeah. So sometimes, it's good to learn from different kind of people. They give up, because they're always active in doing it. So sometimes it's good to take information from different people around the world, especially from Maghrib, from Morocco. They're very good at it. So he was talking about someone and said, one of the questions came up to him is, look, Sheikh, I want to do ruqya. Give me advice. What's the condition? He said, Ya akhi, so long you are Muslim, you can do it. But listen to this. The hadith that I have mentioned, the Sahabi was a bit reluctant. But when he done, he felt good. Because guess what? He helped someone out. He came back with a fulfillment. Different type of feeling. I've helped someone. And that's the benefit that you'll get when you help someone out when it comes to the health-related issue. Rather than, and I think it's really important that everyone has the tool and the knowledge to actually learn about this great discipline of doing ruqya. Now, the difference between you, brothers, going to be is that you will do it fi sabilillah. Am I not speaking the truth? You will go and do it fi sabilillah. Because most of us, brothers, we want to do khayr. We want to do good things. So don't ever feel, you know what, I can't do, I'm not pious enough. What am I going to talk to people? I'm scared of the jinn, it's going to beat me up. Don't ever feel like that. Okay? When you have Quran in your hand, it's different feeling like this. When you have Quran in your hand, you can let the whole world come next to you. You can overcome it. You can overcome it because you have Allah Azza wa Jalla beside you. And the best person, the best raqi is yourself. The best ruqya is done by yourself. When I meet individuals, I prepare them to be themselves. I prepare them. I tell them, can you recite this? Can you recite that? He said, yes, I can. Can you do this? Yes, I can do it. Alhamdulillah. Then I teach them, say it after me, say it after me. It's like I'm teaching little kids. Many of them, they can recite by the way. So you start teaching them, telling them how to do it. I said, you see, that's how you do it. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Insha'Allah, in a month, you'll get better. But listen in the sincerity. Listen and you ask Allah Azza wa Jal every 10-15 minutes and cry to Him. Listen to make sure that you do the ruqya shower, ruqya bath, apply the oil fully, stay away from haram, turn the TV off for a whole month because you're going through a healing process. Tell them, listen, don't backbite anymore, don't swear anymore, don't listen to music anymore. Can do that? Take off the pictures in your house. Can do that? Yes. Can you be sincere and cry to Allah Azza wa Jal every night? I can do that. And subhanallah, shifa comes down, pouring down. They say, brother, I feel much more better than I was before. How does that happen? Didn't Allah Azza wa Jal say in Quran al-Karim, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاء? I've revealed the Quran, nothing but cure. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ and mercy. وَرَحْمَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ for the believers. You can only appreciate it when someone going through difficulty and they actually become better. And brothers, this nafs that we have, in my opinion, once in a lifetime we're probably going to go through some sort of turbulence with the nafs. It happens. I don't know if you heard a couple of months ago about that jump down from a cliff or something. He jumped. He's going through mental trauma and mental difficulty, breakdown. He said, I can't have it anymore. And then he jumped and then he passed away. He killed himself. He done suicide. I don't know if you heard about a couple of months ago, one of the sisters, she jumped from the 9th floor. Brothers, how does this happen? How does it happen? She lost her autonomy of being a wife. She lost her communication of being a wife. She lost the attention that she desired and she craved from her husband, being a wife of 2 children or 3 children. She lost a lot of things, the main core condition of a human being, she lost it. Ultimately, she lost her autonomy. She was controlled. She was abused mentally, And then what happened? The nafs is not alone. The second person, the shaitan. The shaitan said, jump. You can't live anymore. You can't live like this anymore. Jump. First he showed the window. He said, jump. You can't live anymore. You're worthless. That's the nafsul lawwama I spoke about in the first class. He starts telling you, you're worthless. You have no meaning in your life. He said, jump now. I can't jump. Jump, it's fine. You're going to go to Allah. Then she said, I'm going to Allah, and then she jumped. That's the last word she said. I'm going to Allah, and then she jumped. Brothers, the shaitan is always there. He's always going to be there, stopping you from Quran al-Karim. He's always going to stop you from going forward with your deen. Brothers, in this hadith, also we learn the greatness of Surah Al-Fatiha. In this hadith, we learn the greatness of Surah Al-Fatiha. Think about it. Think about this surah that is the lead of Quran Al-Karim. The lead of Quran Al-Karim. In the beginning it stays as a blurb, as a summary of Quran Al-Karim. Straight to Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Straight away comes the Rububiyyah, the Lordship of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Before that comes the name of Allah Azza wa Jalla, Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman to the whole world, the whole existence. Ar-Rahim to the believers specifically. Then he says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabb. In that derives Rububiyyah. Rububiyyah meaning what? The Lordship of Allah Azza wa Jal. In that Rabb, my shahid, my keyword is Rabb. In that you derive that Allah subhanallah, He's above the creation. He's above the seven heavens, above the whole dimension. He cannot be below, He cannot be inside this creation. Because it's not befitting for the Rabb to be inside the creation. In it comes the essence, the main concept, the foundation of Tawheed. There comes the Rububiyyah. Rububiyyah is what, brothers? Is the Lordship of Allah Azza wa Jal. Alhamdulillah. Comes Alhamd. Alhamdulillahi Rabb. Rabbil Alameen. Then comes again, after saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Again, Rahmanir Rahim came again. This is Maliki Yawmiddin. Malik, the king of the day of judgment. Jalla wa ala, He reminding you, me and you, that the very dunya that we live today, is very short. But what's more waiting for me and you is the day of judgment. Yawmin ka alfi sana. No, it's 1,000 years long. What's more better? Jalla wa ala is reminding me and you. And that's the day we'll be standing for a very long time for the hisab, for the reckoning. Maliki Yawmiddin. Then he said, Iyaka na'budu. And this is the whole explanation of Quran al-Kareem. To you we worship directly. Direct worship. Iyaka meaning no one's added. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. And to you we ask for help. Isti'ana meaning constantly you're asking Allah for help. Every single day you're asking for help. You know, that's why you say in the morning time, what do you say? Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. With the mercy I seek refuge. Aslih li sha'ni kullah. Okay, rectify everything that I have, that's going on around me. Rectify it. وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. And don't move away from me even the blink of an eye. You know, you say that in the morning and evening azkar. You say that every single day in the morning. Straight away, isti'ana comes along. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. The whole explanation of Quran al-Kareem is this one. The whole explanation of Quran al-Kareem is إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And then comes the main important bit. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide me to the straight path. بغير عوج. Without any right or left. Right or left meaning all the haram lifestyle that comes in a very beautiful form. In a very beautiful form, the haram will come from the right. From the left, you'll find haram glittering. It's beautiful, it's pretty to look at it. Then comes the sirat, the straight path. Guide me. Asking Allah directly. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Think about it in this surah. You have already mentioned so many sifat, so many names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Malik, Rabb, Hadi. Ihdina Hadi. He's the one who guides. Names and attributes are added also in the surah. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. The path of those whom you have guided. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم, other than those whom you have, which have caused anger towards you, and those who went astray, that is the Yahud and the Nasara and all those isms that comes along, and all those sects and all those religion that they are worshipping as a deity. Every single thing Jalla wa Ala is negating. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. That's the sirat, my brothers. An'amta, in'am. In'am meaning the blessed way. Ni'mah. Jalla wa Ala also in Surah An-Nisa says, وَمَا يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولِ. And those who obey Allah and the Messenger, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ. And they are those who have received a ni'mah, أَنْعَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ. And those who receive the blessing and the ni'mah, مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّقِينَ, with the prophets, with the truthful, with the martyrs and the pious. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. Jalla wa ala is reminding you that the path is very narrow. You want Allah Azza wa Jal, then you have to go through a certain way. You want Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to go through a certain way. Now on that way, if someone tells me and beautifies a way that similar to this way, but a bit more glittery, a bit more red and yellow added, am I going to rush into it? No. It needs dalil, it needs evidence. This deen is based upon evidence. So this Surah Al-Fatiha, my brothers, has many benefits. It has many, many benefits, brothers. When the Sahabi, he went to the person and he used it as a cure. Surah Al-Fatiha, my brothers, Mr. Ruqya, straight away we recite Surah Al-Fatiha 7 times in the person. Agitate them. When it's jinn al-ashiq, it's the jinn that has possessed a female or a male out of love, because somehow in the way that individual was walking, and then you could be intrigued by that person, and it's all questioned by them. After interrogating the jinn, I found out what they do. Among the jinn world, are those who are dosses. They mess around, have nothing good to do, and there's so many of them. We even find among human beings dosses in the road. But the jinn world, they are much more in number. Ajib. But they have certain stations that they are actually stationed in. Now mainly it's in the trees area. You know the Mylan Park? I would say it's infested. Because one of the jinn was actually from Mylan Park. Okay? It's infested. That Mylan Park is infested. That's what I would say. Now they live in the trees area mainly in the city life. In the city life, they live in the tree area. In the Arab world, in the desert area, full of them. In the watery area, in the lakeside, full of them. And they have little tribes and countries, and that's how it works. Rather, the dosses are the problem. Many of them, they don't have a religion. Many of them, they don't have a religion. When we start interrogating them, they say, I don't have no religion. Just like last week. After doing some therapy, after beating you up, he said, I don't have any religion. After hitting you with sticks so many times, then he said, I have no religion. I said, no, you have a religion. And after more whacking, he said, no, I actually don't have no religion. Okay, I'll get to the whacking side in a bit. This is one of the tactical side that you use with the person's permission. It's an old school method. Al-Qayim, rahimahullah, he used to hit his patient more than 400 times at one person. So it's all with evidence and with all people with experience I'm talking about. That's what I'm not going to do. It's an old school method. They do it mainly back home. They do all types of methods, but it works. But in this country, I'm very softy. Please don't touch me. Okay, just do it, but don't come next to me. Just do it from far. If you say a word, too much, too sensitive. The reality is, when someone comes to your house, a burglar comes to your house, I can say, hey, let me save your tea first, and then we'll have a chat. What you really want to take from my house? The reality goes straight away, boom, in the face. Start getting the knife, whatever, just want to move them away from the house. And that's the concept I take. When someone possesses a human being, my brothers, it's a very serious matter. When they possess a human being, straight away it takes away it makes love into hate. So what it does, the household, whoever's living in that household, the person starts hating the people in the household. But number one is the mother and the father. Straight away, mother. If it's husband and wife, then the husband or the wife. They start hating one another. Hope turns into despair. You feel sad every time. And then you feel angry. So think about it. Anger and sadness combined. Think about how that person is going through. Tough. It's hard. Thirdly, straight away, no salah. When you stand for salah, it's too hard, you know, it's burning you. Number 4, chest pain. Difficult. Chest pain. And the most saddest thing, brothers, when you go to the doctor can't find anything. Now you're trying to tell me when you go and see a patient, I'm just going to sit there and talk with him. No, you can't do that. Alright, you can't do that. Straight away you have to recite some Quran, straight away just get the stick and start beating them up until they start surrendering. You say, okay, I leave. Then you start telling them, why have you come? What's the reason? Is it sihr? Is it something else? Is it through hasad? Through evil eye? Which one is it? Then they start owning up. They say here, or they say, ayn, hasad. And that's it. Now you know what to give them. Now your action plan. Now you know exactly what to give them. And that's how it works. Okay? Now, Surah Al-Fatiha, brothers, is Shifa. Number 3 is Surah Al-Fatiha, summary of Quran Al-Karim. Number 4, Surah Al-Fatiha is Shifa for the one's heart. And also Surah Al-Fatiha is a distinction between Iman and Kufr. In Surah Al-Fatiha, brothers, also you have the chapter of Al-Wala wal-Bara that comes along. Hating for the sake of Allah and loving for the sake of Allah. You hate the kufr. You hate the kufr and you love your iman. Whatever kufr or doubt or misconception comes along, you leave all of that. Part of iman is to leave the doubtful matters. So, part of Surah Al-Fatiha comes a lot of things, brothers. A lot of things. So when you start Surah Al-Fatiha, my brothers, you need to say it with sincerity. And stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Brothers, without Surah Al-Fatiha, there's no Salah. If there is no Surah Al-Fatiha, there's no Salah. That's how important it is. 45. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. They say فقد تأثر هذا الدواء في هذا الداء وأزاله حتى كأنه لم يكن وهو أسهل دواء وأيسره ولو أحسن العبد التداوي بالفاتحة لرأى لها تأثيرا عجيبا في الشفاء ومكثت بمكة مدة يعتريني أدواء ولا أجد طبيبا ولا دواء فنكت أعالج بالفاتحة فأرى لها تأثيرا عجيبا فكنت أصف ذلك لمن يشتكي ألما فكان كثير منهم يبرأ سريعا. Ibn Al-Qayim, he says that Surah Al-Fatiha is, he said that one of the Sahabi was going through a difficult situation, he couldn't find anything, and then he remembered Surah Al-Fatiha, he put his hand there, recited Surah Al-Fatiha many times, and then that pain went away. Okay, so what you're going to do is, generally, if you have children in your house, nieces and nephews, or if you're living with parents or the spouses, the loved ones, get the oil that they use, and get it close to the mouth, okay, and then keep it close, and then recite Surah Al-Fatiha 7 times and blow on it. 7 times, each time you blow on it, and then you mix it, and then you leave it for them to use. This on its own shifa. SubhanAllah. With oil, even with lotions. I remember 15 years ago, someone was very much angry with his mom. And that child was very young, but was very angry. And that person was actually going through a very hard time, depression. And they told me he's not going to have anything. I spoke with one of my private tutors back abroad. He said, look, and at that time I was going abroad anyway. He said, look, in sugar, recite it in sugar, because that person has a lot of teeth. That's the only thing the mother told me. He recited sugar 1 kg, and subhanAllah, he became better in a few weeks. In sugar. So brother, I was telling you this story because it's all true. It's all there. And the discipline or the method that the other people that they use when it comes to tadawi, healing method, is zodiac. It's all kufr. Remember this. Remember, magic all started in Babylon. It started in Babylon. It's a very ancient way of going to a magician. And for a magician to become a magician, he needs to go through so much kufr. He has to sit in a place for 40 days or 50 days and then stay in an area where there's no, you have to do your number 1, number 2 in that same area. You can't have no bath. You have to eat a little bit. All this kind of kufr, and then you have to, A'udhu Billah, you have to read Quran off, you have to put Quran underneath your feet. All this kufr you have to do, and then the jinn comes to you. And then it says, what do you want? And then it says, what do you want? And it's all from the real stories of magicians who done tawbah later on in their life. That's what they said. They said that in far places where human beings don't even walk. You only go to the aeroplane and find mountainous areas. There's nothing there. No human don't even go there. He said, I walked and walked and I walked and I never saw any human. We just carried on walking till I ended up in a cave. He said, my master left me there. It's a real story. The video was taken down after 1 day. He said, I'm not going to live after this. Most likely I'm not going to live in. I'm exposed into reality. He said, I went far away and I was left there for 40 days. He said, in the first 10 days, I heard instruments I've never heard before. I had instruments I've never ever heard before. And then later on, the jinn came and said, what do you want? And they think that the magician, that the jinn is giving bay'ah, pledge to the human. It's actually the opposite. It's actually the opposite. It's actually the jinn, you're giving bay'ah, the pledge, to the jinn. And they have this love and hate relationship. Most of the magician, they're always in pain. They're always in difficulty. They don't like it. They can't sleep, but they go through insomnia. They go through, bodily pain. And 99% of their wives can't give birth. And 99% of them, their wives also gets possessed. And they have to live like this. And what drives a magician to become a magician, brothers, is 2 things. What is it? What is it, brothers? What do they get when they become a magician?
Money.
Money.
Fame.
Number 2, fame. That's it. It's not what a human being wants. Money and fame. That's why they start going to social media and start doing it, TikTok, and start becoming, like an animal just to get some views. That's what they do. Because of fame, because the ego, the part that they have, the ego that they have is in the wrong way. It's not directed in the right way. So the magician is adu Allah, is the enemy of Allah Azza wa Jal. The magician shouldn't live anymore. Magicians are the enemy of Quran Al-Qayim, enemy of Allah Azza wa Jal. I think it's really important that we also remind our family members and our household how it works, how you actually can get better if you're going through any kind of mental difficulty. I think also for mothers, especially for mothers and for wives, they also need to listen to Quran Al-Karim, the verses of Sakina. Okay, verses of Sakina they need to listen to, and the verse of cure, they need to listen to it. That's how they, because sometimes they feel turbulence in their own psyche, and they haven't actually diagnosed it properly. It happens a lot with our Asian parents, Muslim parents generally, I would say. And then what happens is they forget, they kind of lose themselves on the process. Could be our aunties, could be our fufu, could be our, aunties, you know what I mean? Anyone. You have to always remind them, listen to me. Give them a piece of advice. Tell them. It's a skill that you're always going to have. That you do it by yourself. Brother, this hadith is amazing. The hadith that are related to you, because you have to understand the Sahaba were normal people. When you embark upon the great journey of helping people while difficulty, you can only become better and better at it. And that's the amazing thing about human being. Is that they do something good for the people. For your own people. Could be even for your family members. You don't have to go out. For your family members. And when you start making an effort for them and not stay ignorant about it, you can only become better and better in that thing. Because ruqya is a fan, is a what you call is a type of skill. It's a mahar, it's a skill. Different ruqya, different raqi got different method of dealing with it. I just actually told you one of my methods. I shouldn't have. Okay, I shouldn't have, but it just came out because I don't want to keep nothing in my heart. It just came out. That's my method. After the permission of the person, or if it's a young lady, from the father, from a husband, straight to after talking, you have to do some beating. If they're soft jinn, you don't hit him. If you're soft jinn, you give them da'wah of Islam, and then they leave. But if it's a jabbar, if it's a ifrit, strong one, then there's something of a story. There's a different method. So every raqi got a different type of method of dealing with this sensitive issue of ruqya. But you have to learn about it, to always listen up and find out right information. And the best raqi of the world is Sheikh Khalid al-Hibashi from Saudi, from Jeddah. The best person in the world, I would say. You can learn a lot from him, but unfortunately all of his videos are in Arabic, none is in English. Some of them are translated. He got good books about, small books about these kind of issues. It's good to learn about it, not stay ignorant about it. Brother, I've said a lot. And then the Sheikh, he goes on talking about the person who's in the process of being cured, the kind of mindset they should have. He said that a person who's constantly in haram, then the shifa will never come. He said a person who, so that's why when you deal with the person, you start asking them, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you listen to music? Find out the evil actions that they might be involved in. And then they actually open up. They say, yes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Because that's the time for them to open up. With one condition, that their confidentiality is very much secure, that no one will ever know. No one will ever know that we are talking about this. And that's the time for you to open up. You create a setting, an environment of trust and empathy, and then they start opening up. They will tell you the deep thoughts in the heart. Some of the stories are very disheartening. But how do you deal with disheartening stories also has to have certain principle laid down in the heart. So when people go in, sometimes they get emotionally attached to certain individual. Many Iraqis, unfortunately, in our area, are not trusted. Because they can't differentiate between the professional life, a normal life, and the professional life. They start mixing around. So sometimes you find them, some Iraqis, they're actually very flirtious. It happens. They're very flirtious with the female member. Sometimes they take the numbers, start calling them out of working hours. How does that happen? Because they haven't embedded certain skills, certain discipline within themselves. So dealing with this very sensitive topic, but it's a very important one. Very important one, because unfortunately, there's more magicians than Iraqis in this world, number one. Number two, there's too many people running around for money and not for cure. There's so many people running around for fame and not for Allah. So I think anyone who actually has some sort of courage, then they need to also stand up and be there for your own people, for your family members, for your cousins, because at the very end, if they see you rather be as someone who prays, then they will actually see you like someone who has some decent level of knowledge. And you have to keep as amana, as a trust. You have to keep this deen as a trust. Rather, ad-deenul amana. Deen is a trust. You don't come to the deen to make money out of it. It's a very wrong mindset to have. You can't come to the deen and everything is about money. This service I'm going to provide for this much, that service for that much. Do you know where I'm coming from? That becomes a khiyana, that becomes a treacherous act. أقول قولي هذا نستغفر الله ولكم وسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب إنه هو البر الرحيم.